Hello viewers, welcome to Physics with Kalyan. In this lecture, we are going to see the concept number 4 from simple interest. Concept number 4 is like we have installments or emergency charity type or amount. That means amount changes with the rate when the rate changes. Okay, the amount will change when the rate will change. So how this type of problem will be there, we'll see directly. We'll see the problem. So a man, question number 34, a man borrowed 50,000 for 5 years from the bank. For the first 3 years, rate of interest is 12%. For the first 3 years, the rate of interest is 12%. 12% per annum it is there. Then next 1.5 year, at the rate of interest is 16%. For next 1.5 year, the rate of interest is how much? 16% per annum. And for the remaining period, 20% is 20% per annum. For the remaining period, how much? First he bought it for the 5 years. The remaining year is 3 years gone and 1.5 year gone. 4.5 years are gone, so only half year is there. For half year, the it should be 26%. Then only we'll get the answer. Even for 20% also we can calculate, but we'll get a different answer. So for the 26% per annum, find the interest. For remaining period is half year. For half year, how much is the rate of interest? 26% per annum is the rate of interest. So how did we write here? Here it is the rate of interest and it is the time period. So for this time period, if the rate of interest is this much, how much interest we will get? That is, then what we have to find here? ఒక వ్యక్తి 5 సంవత్సరాలకు బ్యాంకు నుండి 50,000 సొమ్ముగా అప్పు తీసుకున్నాడు. మొదటి 3 సంవత్సరాలకు వార్షిక వడ్డీ రేటు 12%, తదుపరి 1.5 సంవత్సరాలకు వార్షిక వడ్డీ రేటు 16%, మరియు మిగిలిన కాలానికి వార్షిక వడ్డీ రేటు 26% తీసుకుందాం. 26% అయినా మొత్తం వడ్డీ ఎంత? వి జస్ట్ వాంట్ ఇంట్రెస్ట్. వడ్డీ ఎంత? వడ్డీ ఎలా వస్తుంది? మొత్తం వడ్డీ ఈజ్ నథింగ్ బట్ రేట్ ఇంటూ టైం ఫర్ ఫస్ట్ 3 years with 12% into 3 years will be 12 3s are 36. First we will get 36%, and later 1.5 into 16. 1.5 into 16. How will you do that? 16 plus 8. 1.5. That is 24. Half is 26. Half is 13%. So total interest in terms of percentage, it is how much? This is 6, 10, 13. So 4 plus 3 is 7. 73% interest we will get. So the total amount was 50,000. From the 50,000, what is the 73%? How do we calculate 73%? To calculate any percentage, just remove 2 zeros and multiply. So 73% of 50,000 is 500 into 73. That is 2 zeros are here. 3 5 15, 3 గోళ్ళ 7 5 36. So this is 36,500 is the interest we will get. In this question, what is happening? The time periods are, for different time period, different interest rate is there. So if it is simple interest, we will calculate like this. Understood? Yes. See the one more question. A man borrowed some money for 5 years from a bank. For a first 2 years rate of interest is 14%. Total for 5 years he bought. For 2 years rate of interest is 14%. For 2 years rate of interest is how much? 14%. And next 1 year rate of interest is 16%. Next 1 year rate of interest is 16%. And remaining period 20%. Total is 5 years. 2 years gone, 1 year gone, 3 years are gone, so 2 more years. The remaining period, it is 20% interest rate. After 5 years, interest was 16,800. Sum, how much is the sum? Now interest he has given. We have to find the principal sum amount. So with this rate of interest, in this time period, how much interest we will get? 2 into 14 is 28%. 1 into 16 is 16%. 2 into 20 is 40%. So total is 40, 60, 70, 78 and 84. 84%. 84% is the interest. 84% is how much? 84% is 16,800. Then the actual amount is 100%. The 100% is how much? So simply, how do we calculate this? So cancel this 2 times and 200 and 2 more 0, 20,000. 20,000 is the actual amount. The principal amount is 100%. So that is 20,000. Understood? Nice. One more question. The annual, sorry, a man invested one third of his capital 7 at a 7%. One third of capital at a 7% per annum, and 1/4 at a 8% per annum. 8% per annum. The remainder at a 10%. Remainder is how much? So 1/3 and 1/4 is gone. So remainder is how much? So you can calculate this. Total is 1. So in this, from this 1/3 and 1/4 is gone. So remaining is, this is nothing but LCM. If you do it, 12, 4 plus 3 is 7. 1 minus 7 is, this is nothing but 12 minus 7. 12 minus 7 is 5/12. So remaining is 5/12. 5/12 is the this much amount at a 10% per annum he has given. This is the question. Now what is the principal amount he has? That we have to find. So now the denominators are not equal. So let's make the denominators equal. How do we do that? Take a LCM. So 3, 4 LCM will be 12. So this can be written as 4/12. This can be written as 3/12, and this is 5/12 as it is. So now denominators are equal. So total parts are 12 parts. 12 parts. In that 12 parts, fourth part is 7%, 3 part is 8%, and 5 parts at a 10% he has given. So 4 into how much interest we will get? Interest is, this is time period, this is amount, principal amount. Okay, the interest we will get is 4 into 7 is 28, and 3 into 8 is 24, 5 into 10 is 50%. So total is how much? Total interest, total amount we get is 50 plus 40, 90, 90 plus 12, 102. It is 102. 102% is 12 parts. So 12 parts is 102. So one part is how much? 102 by 12, which will be 2 ఆర్ల 2 5 2 ఎక్కం percentage is there, so divided by 100. Let's keep it like this. 12 parts is 102%. Now what we want? What is the 100%? So it is అయినా ఒక సంవత్సరానికి వచ్చిన ఆదాయం 510 అయినా అసలు ఎంత? ఒక సంవత్సరానికి వచ్చిన ఆదాయం ఎంత? ఒక్క సంవత్సరానికి పర్ యానం. So this is x is, let's not do this calculation. X is simply 102 by 12. So 10 by 12 is how much? ఒక సంవత్సరానికి వచ్చింది ఎంత? 510. అయినా మనకు 100% అనేది ఎంత అనేది మన క్వశ్చన్. సో యూ క్యాన్ సింప్లీ డూ దిస్. 510 డివైడెడ్ బై 102 ఇంటూ 12 కింద నుంచి పైకి వెళ్తే, నౌ దిస్ బికమ్స్ 2 ఆర్ల 2 5 2 ఎక్కం. This is 60 and into 100 will be 60,000. 6,000. Just simply 6,000 is the asalu. The capital is 6,000. Understood? Let me give you brief recap of this. So one man is invested 1/3 of the capital at 7%, and 1/4 at 8%. 1/4 at 8%. 1/3 at a 7%. 1/4 at 8%. And remainder is at 10%. Remainder is how much? Total is 1. So 1/3 and 1/4 is gone. So 1 minus this much is 1 minus 7/12. This is 5/12. Remaining is 5/12 at 10%. So now denominators are not equal. So make all the denominators equal. So that is 12 by 5. Taking LCM of this, 12, and here 4 will come, 3 will come. Now 4 into 7 is 28, 3 into 24, 3 into 8 is 24, 5 into 50. So total amount is, total interest we got is 102%. 102% for 12 parts of x. 12 parts. So for one part it is 102 by 12. So this much percent of interest means 510. ఎంత వచ్చింది అది? అయినా ఆదాయం వచ్చిన ఆదాయం 510. 510 అంటే ఎంత? సో మరి 100% అంటే ఎంత? 100% అంటే just simply as usual cross multiplication, you get the 6000. Hope you understood. You see next problem. See, focus, read the question first, try to understand the question first. A person lends 40% of his sum, 40% of his sum at a 15% per annum, 40% for 15% per annum, 50% of rest at a 10% per annum, and rest at 18% per annum. What would be the annual rate of interest? This is we have to find if the interest rate is calculated on the whole sum. We have to find the annual rate of interest. Just try, ఒక వ్యక్తి దగ్గర ఉన్న సొమ్ములో 40% 15% వార్షిక వడ్డీ రేటుతో ఇచ్చాడు. సో 40% ఆఫ్ మనీ ఎంతకి ఇచ్చాడు? 15% పర్ యానంతో ఇచ్చాడు. అండ్ 50% ఆఫ్ రెస్ట్, 50% ఆఫ్ రెస్ట్ అంటే టోటల్ 100 అయితే 40% పోతే 50% ఆఫ్ రెస్ట్ ఎంత? 60. 60లో 50% అనేది 30%. 30% ఎంతకి ఇచ్చాడు? 10% పర్ యానం ఇచ్చాడు. అండ్ రెస్ట్ అంటే మిగిలింది 60లో మిగిలింది 30, అదెంతకి ఇచ్చాడు? 18% పర్ యానం ఇచ్చాడు. ఓకే, ఇలా ఇస్తే ఇప్పుడు మనకు టోటల్ యాన్యువల్ రేట్ ఆఫ్ ఇంట్రెస్ట్ ఎంత అనేది కావాలి. రేట్ ఆఫ్ ఇంట్రెస్ట్ ఈజ్ వేరియింగ్ ఫర్ అ డిఫరెంట్ పర్సెంట్ ఆఫ్ అమౌంట్. ఈ అమౌంట్కి ఇంత ఉంది, ఈ అమౌంట్ ఇంత ఉంది, ఈ అమౌంట్ ఇంత ఉంది. ఈ మొత్తం అమౌంట్కి యాన్యువల్ రేట్ ఆఫ్ ఇంట్రెస్ట్ ఎంత? సో మొత్తం అమౌంట్ మనం క్యాలిక్యులేట్ చేద్దాం ఫస్ట్. మొత్తం అమౌంట్ ఎంత? సో టోటల్ దీన్ని 40% అంటే అదెంత? ఇంతకుముందు క్వశ్చన్లో మార్చుకోవాలంటే 40% 40 డివైడెడ్ బై 100, రైట్? 4/10th పార్ట్ అంటే ఇది 4/10th పార్ట్, అండ్ ఇది 3/10th పార్ట్, ఇది కూడా 3/10th పార్ట్. టోటల్ 10 పార్ట్స్ అయితే 4 పార్ట్స్కి ఎంత పర్సెంట్తో? 15%. 4 into 15 is how much? 60%. 3 into 10 it is 30%. 3 into 18 ఎంత? 54. So it will become the 10 parts, total 10 parts ki manaki enta vastundi interest? This is 90 plus 50, 140 plus 4, 144. 144% అనేది మనకు 10 పార్ట్స్కి వస్తుంది. సో 1 పార్ట్కి ఎంత? మొత్తం టోటల్ అమౌంట్కి ఎంత? 144 డివైడెడ్ బై 10 విచ్ ఇస్ 14.4%. ఇలా డిఫరెంట్ పర్సెంట్ ఆఫ్ అమౌంట్కి డిఫరెంట్ రేట్ ఆఫ్ ఇంట్రెస్ట్తో మనం ఇస్తే టోటల్ హోల్ సమ్ అమౌంట్ మీద మనకి రేట్ ఆఫ్ ఇంట్రెస్ట్ ఎంత పడుతుంది? ఎంత పడుతుంది? దిస్ ఈజ్ హౌ వి డూ ఇట్. నెక్స్ట్, one last question. A person gave 1/5 of his total monthly income at 4% per annum. simply just write that 1/5 of the total monthly income, 1/5 of the total monthly income at a 4% per annum, 4% per annum, and this is for how much? 2 years. And next 3/10 part at a 3/10 part at a 5% per annum for 1 year. And remaining part ఎంత అనేది మనం చూడాలి. The remaining part is at a 6% per annum. Then for 6 months, 6 months means that is 6/12 years, that is half year, right? For half year this much. So how to do this? First we will make a denominator equal. This is 10, this is 5, so this also we can make it as a 10 by dividing and multiplying with the 2, so it will become 2/10, and this is 3/10 part. So remaining is 5/10 part is gone, so 5/10 part will be remaining. So if total amount is 10 parts, 2 parts of amount is at a 4% for 2 years. That means this is time period, this is rate of interest, so that is 8%. 8% for 2 parts, which is 16%. 5%, 5 into 3, which is 15%. 6 into, this is 1/2, that means 3%. 3% into 5 is again 15%. So total is how much? 30, 30 plus 40, 46. 46% is total. 10x is 40%. So what is x? It is simply 4.6%. So 4.6% is how much? 460 వడ్డీ, మనకు వచ్చిన వడ్డీ ఎంత? 460. సో 100% ఎంత? 100% ఎంత అవుతుంది? సో దిస్ ఈజ్ నథింగ్ బట్ 1000. 100, 1 0 is gone, 100, and here 2 zeros, 10,000. 46, 100 into 100, 10,000. Yes, this is how we do the installment problems. When the rate of interest is changing for different years, we will do like this. So with this model we can do installment or charity parts when the amount is changes with the rate of, when the rate changes. Hope you understood. If you have any doubt, please reach me out. For all any of doubt, we can have a live interaction if people are watching this. Thank you so much for your patience. See you in the next lecture with the concept number 5 from the simple interest.